Okay, let's be real. We have all been there, right? You're sitting with a textbook, highlighter in hand, reading the same chapter for like the third time, and you get this warm, fuzzy feeling of being super productive. But what if I told you that you might be studying like a zombie, just mindlessly going through the motions without actually learning a single thing?
Ouch. Does that hit a little too close to home? All those hours you've spent convincing yourself, I'm being so diligent, when in reality, you might just be putting off the real hard work of actually learning.
And this leads us straight into something I call the rereading trap. You know the cycle. You spend hours, and I mean hours, reading and highlighting until the page is just a sea of fluorescent yellow. You feel like you've totally conquered the material. You feel prepared, you feel productive, but then that exam paper lands on your desk. You read the first question, and nothing. Your mind is completely blank. All that work you put in, and it's just gone when you need it most. It is so frustrating, it's demoralizing, and believe me, it is incredibly common. So what on earth is going on here?
Well, the answer comes down to a really simple but critical distinction our brains mess up all the time. We mistake the feeling of familiarity with the reality of knowledge. And trust me, those are two very, very different things.
So here it is. This is the great illusion broken down. On one hand, you have familiarity. It's totally passive. It's just you recognizing the text and thinking, oh yeah, I've seen this before. It feels comfortable, it feels easy, but on the other hand, you have true knowledge. That requires active recall. It feels hard, it's work. It's the ability to say, I can explain this in my own words without looking at the page. Our brains, they love the easy path, so they latch onto that feeling of familiarity and trick us into thinking we're actually learning.
And what's the consequence of falling for that little trick? Well, it's the dreaded exam day brain fart. You know that gut-wrenching moment when the comfortable feeling of familiarity just evaporates under pressure, leaving you with absolutely nothing. You can't actively recall the info because, well, you never really stored it in the first place.
So the crucial point here is this. The antidote to this whole rereading trap is active recall. Think of it like a mental workout. It's the act of pulling information out of your brain instead of just passively letting it wash over your eyes. Honestly, this is the single most important shift you can make in your study habits. Okay, so theory is great and all, but how do we actually do this? How do we force our brains to do that heavy lifting of active recall? Let's get into a simple, powerful, and totally actionable solution, the 10-minute rule.
Here's how it works, and it's beautifully simple. Step 1 is focus. Set a timer, and for just 10 minutes, you study a concept. No distractions. Step 2, stop. As soon as that timer goes off, close the book, put away your notes, turn everything over. And then, step 3, recall. Grab a blank piece of paper and write down everything you can possibly remember about what you just studied. The key here, and I mean this, is you have to do it by hand, from memory, with no peeking. This right here, this is the ultimate reality check. It's the real test. That blank page in front of you doesn't care how familiar the text felt. It only reveals what you actually know. And look, if you can't explain it without looking, you haven't truly learned it yet. But that's not failure. That's actually super valuable feedback telling you exactly what you need to focus on next.
So let's just quickly recap the big ideas here. First, mindless rereading is a trap. It just creates an illusion of knowledge. Second, the antidote, the real key to learning, is active recall, that hard work of pulling info from your memory. And third, your new secret weapon to put this all into practice is the 10-minute rule.
So I'll leave you with this question. By trading that false comfort of rereading for the real work of recall, what will you be capable of truly learning? Think about it.